Happy Monday, everyone. Episode 83, the Plug Talk Sports live show. We're back. Favorite night of the week. It's Monday. Hope everyone is doing great. Danny Torres alongside Jonka Don't Stop. Brandon should be joining on shortly. Got a lot to get to this week tonight. Lots of things happened this past week, so it should be an interesting show. But as always, you know, the rundown, how we start here at Plug Talk Sports, your plug of the week and shameless plug. Let's go good news first. Best news of the week, Jonka. What is it for you?
Best news. Well, I guess it's gonna have to be what we've been talking about for the whole day today. My article, if you guys haven't read it yet, on Plug Sports about UM's new running back coach, Tim Harris Jr. It's right now apparently, according to Daniel, the highest.
It is the highest right now. It is the highest viewed Plug Talk Sports article. Jonka got that number, so congratulations to Jonka for reaching that achievement, and it's pretty good, man. So you guys head to our website, check it out. It's a good article. Tim Harris Jr., part of UCF, was part of FIU. He was part of FIU when I was there. Now going back to his alma mater, University of Miami, and we'll be coaching there. But yeah, great article, short and sweet. Jonka gets to the point. But yeah, highly rated article by Jonka on our website. So okay, for me, it would have to be actually right now. I finished playing soccer. I play soccer Monday and Wednesday nights with friends, and we finished playing. And the owner of the place comes up to us, and he speaks Spanish. He's talking to us in Spanish. And he's like, I mean, honestly, I didn't know this because there wasn't a big commotion or anything. But he was like, "Hey, man, like that guy over there in the white shorts in the field next to you guys, he just won a Latin Grammy." And I was like, we were like, "Oh, who is it?" And then he was like, "Oh, it's Ozuna." Ozuna just randomly pulled up at a park in Kendall and just was playing soccer with some friends.
That's my
yeah, it was pretty cool. We were all like, "Cool, look at that." He was playing, and there wasn't any you couldn't tell because there wasn't really anybody like hyped or like going up there taking pictures or whatever. Like it was like a normal night, like it was just there. So it was pretty cool. I would have to say that is the best news. I would have to say for me. Bad news, Jonka. Give me your bad news.
Man, my bad news. I guess it's gonna have to be Canes basketball.
Oh my!
The buzzer beater on Saturday.
Oh my God!
Jordan Miller hits the three. The Hurricanes go up, and there goes it kind of like a repeat of that national championship moment where I think Villanova just passes it back, chucks up a three, and he goes in. You know, it happens. There's always one of those games every year that it's like, wow. And what makes it stings even harder. The Canes were up like 25 plus at the half. It's like 8, but FSU deserved to win that game. They fought hard and came back. So I can't hate on that.
Wait, let's give Brandon, tell us you started off with bad news, but Jonka, Brandon, give us your good news. Everyone welcome Brandon into the episode.
Thank you. I was a little late. I had a little issue I had to take care of.
It's okay, man. We understand. We totally understand. Tell us, what was your good news?
The good news, I would probably have to say, crazy weekend in sports for me personally, from seeing the Celtics beat out Philadelphia. And then, of course, later on with Inter Miami. But besides that, I saw the first episode of The Last of Us. I've been keeping away from it for a long time. I don't know why. Yeah. Better than the game, in my honest opinion, because the game itself was like a movie anyway. But this is like an actual movie. It shouldn't be a TV series. That's how good that first episode was. So to see Pascal, and honestly, I'm excited for the second one. Might even binge one a whole entire Sunday. But yeah, probably the best thing.
Cool. Yeah, so Jonka just gave us his his bad news, which I thought was hilarious. Was up by 25 on FSU. FSU comes back, hits a game winner, and they hit the upside down U. Oh man, let me tell you, Florida State owns y'all. They really do. They really do. It's great. It's hilarious.
It's been a tough 2 years.
That was their 10th win of the season. They were that day.
Oh man, Brandon, give us your bad news.
Besides what I had to do in the bathroom earlier after eating some crazy lunch, bad news. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I've been so far a pretty good week. I guess probably I was supposed to broadcast a game last Wednesday for Santa Fe men's basketball. They ended up postponing because I think it was Polk State who their bus was like stuck on I-75. They moved it now to Tuesday, and unfortunately, I have classes during that time on Tuesday.
Oh.
So, I was hoping to do it. That's probably most likely going to be the last time they play in Gainesville. So, I was hoping to do the call, but unfortunately not.
Well, let's just say my bad news is about my weekend, which was disastrous.
Oh my God, that's the worst. Oh my God,
disastrous nightmare trip of a lifetime.
What happened?
So, I was heading up to Los Angeles for MLS coverage opening weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. LA Galaxy, LAFC, El Tráfico, as they call it, the rivalry, Rose Bowl, 80,000 people. Absolutely beautiful, man. I land in LA on Thursday. I think I saw from the airport, from LAX to Pasadena, where the Rose Bowl is at, where I was staying at, my hotel. Beautiful. It was a good 45-minute drive, a little bit chilly. Beautiful day. As soon as they get to Pasadena, I do the same thing I always do if I'm in Los Angeles or anywhere in California, pick up an In-N-Out burger. I'm get my In-N-Out. I'm happy. This is great. We're in Los Angeles. We're kicking off, MLS opening weekend the right way. After all that, I check into my hotel. Then it starts getting dark. It starts getting very dark. It starts raining. And let's just say this was on Thursday. It started raining on Thursday, and it never stopped.
Oh, no.
And so Friday, I wake up. And I'm having breakfast, and I'm starting to hear murmur in the background that this game might not get played.
Man.
And all sorts of things are going through my mind at this moment. I'm thinking there's no way MLS is going to postpone this or cancel this. It's the Rose Bowl. 80,000 people have bought tickets for this. This is the grand historic opening for this MLS opening weekend. Like, there's no way. Now, look, you have to understand that us as Floridians, when it rains here, it's like, okay, like it's raining, no big deal. You have to understand that Southern California is a desert pretty much. When it rains there, people stop what they're doing to look out the window. That's how scarce rain is for them. So, and it's crazy when an entire news not even a segment, the entire newscast, the entire hour is them talking about rain. And we're talking about there was hail falling at the Santa Monica beach. There was snow in the Hollywood Hills. Like, that does not happen in Los Angeles.
What type of rain was this?
It just does not happen in Los Angeles.
Bipolar.
So you guys want to know what little old me ends up doing? I end up going to Disneyland. I'm at Disneyland. I'm trying not to think about this. We're at the Mouse. I can't confirm or deny whether I was upset or happy that I was at the Mouse, but whatever. Find out, and this is probably 5 hours later from when I'm hearing these rumors, that the league has decided to postpone the game. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I mean, look, they had good intention. The field was supposedly like 3 feet underwater from all the rain it had absorbed. So that's unplayable. And then the Rose Bowl is very old, so there's no irrigation system like modern stadiums. And then also, it's just such a wide open stadium that on Saturday night, which was the scheduled time for the game, there was forecasted thunderstorms, and there is no way that the Rose Bowl does not have enough shelter to shelter 80,000 people if it came that they had to shelter in place because of lightning. So they postponed it. And look, I was looking at the forecast. Sunday, which is obviously yesterday, it was sunny. It was going to be sunny. It was the only day it was going to be sunny because Monday, today, through Wednesday, it's going to continue raining in Los Angeles.
Man.
So in my mind, I had seen that Portland Timbers and Sporting Kansas City had been postponed till tonight, actually, at 10 p.m.
It starts today, I think.
Yeah, from their earlier date, they were going to play on Saturday, and it got postponed till tonight at 10 p.m. So my thinking was, they're going to push this back to Sunday. There's going to be good weather on Sunday.
Right.
Nice. About 2 hours later, I find out that they have postponed it to July 4th. And I'm like,
sheesh.
In the middle of the season?
Listen.
Hello?
Listen, guys. From here on out, it was my job. Yeah. From here on out, it was my job now because I didn't want to stay. I was supposed to come back home yesterday. I didn't want to stay till Sunday in this miserable weather.
Right.
You know, I was in Disneyland. I was getting soaked and wet in rain. My socks were wet. I was miserable. I was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
My job was to figure out now how I was going to get home. I looked at a flight at 1 a.m. that would get here at 8 a.m. Nothing. The next option was afternoon flights, but they were super expensive, like $800. And I was like, not doing it. And then it was 1 a.m. and I was like, I don't want to wait that long. The only option was a 6 a.m. flight, which would have me up at 3 a.m. to make the 40-minute drive from Pasadena back to LAX. So I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I just want to get home at this point. I'm just, screw it, man. Just, put me on the 6 a.m. Got on the 6 a.m., got here at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and that was the end of my nightmare experience the opening weekend in the MLS.
I mean, that's unreal, though. And not even that, to postpone it July, though?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I was not, let me just say, I was not happy that day. I was not a happy camper.
Hey, but at least like now if you do go back to watch that game in Cali, it's around your birthday, so.
Hell no, man. I'll be on the beach watching the fireworks on July 4th. I'm not going back there.
Oh, then yeah, you're screwed.
Well, let's get into, I know this one's going to be a little spicy. Me and Jonka have had a little arguments, debate discussions over it already.
I'm down about it so far.
We've had a difference of opinion. We've had a difference of opinion, which is fine. We welcome diversity here at Plug Talk Sports. If you guys didn't hear last week, Miami Hurricanes had an NIL infraction over the recruiting of the Cavender twins in women's basketball. Now, the Cavender twins are one of the highly earned athletes through NIL. There's a booster named John Ruiz. He donates to the University of Miami athletic department and whatnot. He hosted the Cavender twins and their parents at his house for dinner while they were still in the transfer portal, which to the NCAA, this is deemed a big no-no. And they got caught. This has been investigated for a while now. The coach already initially served a 3-game suspension over it, and now investigation was complete, and it's a 1-year probation for the entire University of Miami athletic department, a $5,000 fine, plus a 1% taken away from the women's basketball budget. They will have less time with recruits this year. It's a pretty harsh punishment. Look, here's my thought on this, guys. Jonka brought up a good point when we talked about this when it first happened. I believe it was on Thursday or Friday I believe it was Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It was Friday. When we talked about this, Jonka told me, "Oh, but I'm sure there's a lot of other schools that do infractions or violate the rules and whatnot." I hear you. I get you. I understand. The problem is that this is not the first time the University of Miami has violated the rules. Therefore, it's almost like when something wrong is happening, you already have a target on your back because you have violated the rules before. So it's going to be more obvious to look at you compared to, let's say, other schools that haven't gotten caught. So it's like that one kid, you or your sibling or whatever, your sibling's always the one that is up to no good. And when something happens, your parent's always the first one to call them out and be like, "Daniel, what are you doing?" It's that type of thing with NCAA and the University of Miami. We already know the whole Billy Corbin, 30 for 30, the Miami Hurricanes football program, and we know all of that. Look, just don't do it. Don't do it. You already have a target on your back. If you do it, you're going to get looked at very closely with a mirror. You're going to be looked at closely, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that it happened because this is just the way University of Miami operates their athletics department. I'm not surprised. And now it hurts them, and I feel bad for the Cavender twins because I don't think that they deserve – no student athlete deserves this kind of stuff. It's not really their fault, partially, but not fully. Because, they read the rules. They're giving, a manual instructions of what you can and cannot do. I'm not surprised. That's my final statement. I'm not surprised this happened to the University of Miami.
I'll go, Brandon. Don't worry. I'm gonna say is if they broke the rules, they broke the rules. If you did the crime, do the time. But I will say, according to Longtime Canes, and they know obviously more information than we do, but they said that they investigated also the entire department, the athletic department, which includes the football and basketball and every other sport that UM has. And the women's basketball one is the only infraction they found. So that's a good thing, at least. That there's no other problems besides the women's basketball issue. But what Daniel said at the beginning about what I said, that I bet you there's other schools that are doing. I'm gonna give an example, and I think this is the largest one that no one's been talking about. That I don't know if you guys know Jaden Rashada. He was committed to the University of Miami, and then 2 months later, the University of Florida is like, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna give you an NIL deal worth over $13 million." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm switching. I'm flipping to Florida." And then a month later after that, they're like, "Oh, sorry, we don't have the money. Sorry, we can't pay you. He's out now." I'm like, how is that not how is that not a violation?
Well, you could commit and decommit from schools. That's not a violation.
But the whole point is like it's because of the NIL. Like it's because of NIL he's switching schools. Oh, because Miami, he's committed to Miami. He hadn't gotten an NIL deal yet. And then he's like, "Oh, Florida's like, hey, Florida, we can give you something. $13 million worth for NIL. Oh, he flips to Florida. Oh, Florida, he's like, psych, bro, we don't have the money. Oh, I did. Now he's going to a different school. I think Arizona or something. Now he's out. And then another example, he committed to Miami, Pancake Concho. Before he committed to Miami, he was in University of Florida and he was driving around a Lamborghini, which was provided by the University of Florida, and drove around the school, the campus around it. Like, isn't that breaking the rules? Like, Blade, he posted on social media the same way, the same thing with John.
Now, did he in that social media post say, "Thank you, University of Florida, for letting me drive around," or something like that? Because how do we know concrete evidence?
He was on the field. He was on the field.
Well, specifically, they're using a Lamborghini for recruitment. They're not just taking it away. Like, for example, one thing that University of Florida did for their, I believe a majority of their class for like 2023, like before the whole Lambos.
They did a lot of they did a lot of photo shoots, right?
A lot of photo shoots with retro Florida gear. But of course, at the end of the day, it's just photo shoots.
Yeah.
I mean, even like you go to like the Colorado Boulder. I mean, they got, basically the whole outfit out there in the snow and everything like that. In other places, you might even see someone, doing a whole 360 with Brian Kelly right behind them, and holding a bunch of shades and all. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just recruitment. But for what Jonka is, going at right now, one thing I would want to say though specifically, and I think this is kind of like the biggest thing, because again, this isn't the universities, it's the collectives, it's the boosters. It's the people that are going out of their way to recruit, either that be transfer athletes or high schoolers, millions, if not thousands of dollars. And then that's tarnishing a reputation of a university. For example, the University of Florida and Rashada's situation. I mean, for that one, Rashada is just going back and forth. And the biggest thing about that one is because he signed that letter of intent, did not apply for classes, and then asked the program to be signed out.
Yeah.
For opposably of the collective. There's still, some things in there, whatnot. But either way, for the Cavalier twins themselves in University of Miami, I think that the punishment itself is very harsh. Because, again, we're talking about two players on the women's basketball program at UM, right? We're not talking about an athlete where you have a bunch of controversy of them on the field or off the field.
Yeah.
Or something where, this is the UM women's basketball team. This program usually has no issues at all. So to see the Cavalier twins, who have done a lot of things on social media and obviously has, progressed women's basketball over there in South Florida, it's a shame. And again, it's not really their fault. In recruitment, they were just, their entire family was invited to go have dinner. But, I really don't believe that for elite, and plus I understand it's not a public university, but a private university. So I think UM might be able to pay. But yeah, honestly, I just think it's a harsh punishment. Love the fact that the NCAA is telling it collective and boosters like, hey, let them actually choose a school. But yeah, just way too hard for UM. It's way too hard.
I think the 1 year probation and the 1% of the budget would have been enough for me. I think that would have been okay. Not everything else that came after.
Like, I don't know, like what you just said, Daniel, the $5,000 fine, buddy, a multi-billion-dollar profit organization at NCAA needs $5,000. My guy, come on, like, let's cut the BS already with that. And then it's like, okay, and then I want to. This is on top. This now this is Ruiz brought this up on Twitter because after the news came out, he went on a tweeting spree, right? And he was like adding everybody that was coming at him. And
what do you expect the guy to say, man?
No, this is not the one I sent to you. But he did make a good point. It's like, if Life Wallet and me did something that was against the rules, why didn't the NCAA do something against me and Life Wallet? Why did it have to be against the basketball team? And he's like, because the NCAA, he knows
that's the stupidest argument.
No, it's like, why if Life Wallet is the one that broke the rules, and obviously he's the CEO, why didn't the NCAA go for them if it wasn't actually the women's basketball team and the coach that broke the rules? Like,
that's the stupidest argument.
But like, Ruiz was the one that broke the rules with the dinner.
Yeah, I got to agree with John on that one though, because right? If UM even knew anything about this dinner or whatnot prior of them actually going to committee, they might even like retracted a little bit of putting them on the team, honestly. Because the way that the NCAA right now, I always mention it, it's like a Wild West right now with NIL still kind of in the breeding grounds of, new regulations coming out from NCAA as well as in Congress. If I'm a program and I see that oh yeah, we'd love to commit here after we had a dinner with one of our boosters, I would be hesitant to sign them on, to be honest. So, I mean, Jonka's right, though, in my opinion, for at least me. They definitely got to go after the booster or the person that specifically is a part of a collective or whatnot that did that dinner and not just, tarnish the athletic program and as well the university.
And then I was also going to say...
Wait, hold up. I want to get my say in there. So the reason why I think this is a stupid argument is because it's like saying, hey, I went to dinner with this booster, but like we totally did not talk about joining the school at all. Like we just had dinner. Like it is the stupidest argument to say, hey, come after my company and not me. Like, bro, like you had them over your house for the sole reason of you trying to recruit them to the university. That involves you and the athletic program and trying to recruit. Like you're telling me that the university athletic department and John Ruiz probably had no communication at all saying, oh, we didn't know he was inviting them to dinner. Like, come on.
I mean, according to the reports, though, we don't know yet. Maybe there might have been something in the background, but we don't know yet. You can only assume.
But
it's a weak argument.
But what we know is that apparent from what the NCAA said and what had happened and what the evidence shows with the picture is that there was a dinner. It was with the Cavalier twins and John Ruiz. And I didn't see the coach there. At this point, there's no evidence that the coach was there. The coach said, "Oh, this is John Ruiz. This is the booster for the school, right?" That's what we know. That's what we know because 1 + 1 has to equal 2, right? Okay. So if John Ruiz was there, then you have to find John Ruiz and Life Wallet because he's the one that's giving them the NIL deal. Now, that's the question. Why didn't NCAA fine Life Wallet or give them any restrictions?
Bro,
they're the ones that are trying to bring the Cavalier twins. They're the ones that invited them to the dinner.
Bro, that's like if Phil Neville gets Gary Neville, his brother, to have dinner with Messi and literally FIFA, and he's under contract with PSG, and FIFA says, oh, let's find Gary Neville. Let's they didn't talk about getting him to come to Miami. It's just a weak argument. It is a weak argument to try to CYA, which what you guys mean is cover your.
We're not saying that John Ruiz didn't try to get them to come to Miami. We're not saying that.
What you're saying is, oh, the NCAA should punish me instead of the university.
Well, who invited who
I mean, it is his house.
The dinner, though.
It's stupid because you're still trying to recruit them to the university. And I believe if you're going to sit here and tell me, oh, he probably had no communication with the university or the athletic department over this, if that was the case, Jesus Christ is returning to earth for the second time because come on, people are not that gullible.
I know you're just I guess because of the history with UM's track record with all this player stuff, but the thing is that it's the women's basketball is what's kind of off with it though. It's they've never had a problem.
I know, but it's like what I told you guys is they already have a target on their back. They will get looked at more because of their history.
So you're saying we're being pro no matter what we do. If we're off we break the rules by a point. Thousands of a centimeter. That's it. The incident should just come out.
You will be looked at extra, yes, because you have broken the rules so many times in the past. And if that's the case, then don't break the rules, even if it's by a centimeter. Don't break them. There's a rule for a reason. Don't break it.
And the biggest thing I would probably also have to say, as I mentioned before, is that this is the new stuff that the NCAA is trying to deal with NIL and everything like that.
Yeah,
they can make a new regulation out of nowhere and possibly take that back.
Exactly.
Later, but at the same time, they've already dealt it with 3 other schools and other programs. So
DeSantis even brought up some new legislation, I think a month ago or something.
Yeah, to have the colleges more involved now in deals. Yeah. So Daniel's got a good argument though because you never know what the schools are doing with these boosters, and you never know. For a lot of things, I remember the beginning of. Before college football season, a lot of people were suspecting that Jimbo Fisher of Texas A&M was dealing with a lot of NIL stuff, and that's how he got the #1 recruiting class. Didn't really work out for him, though. But besides that, I mean, there's a lot of things where like you have this timeline that something happens or there's like questions, and then the NCAA or Congress are trying to make some sort of legislation for it. So, unfortunately, UM, as Daniel said, they do have somewhat of a target on their back for not only the reputation as well as, of course, of the image of the U. But, this won't just be UM. This might be a lot of schools down the line. And I mean, who knows?
Yeah. And I will say to end this segment, look, Brandon and I have a lot of experience working through college athletic departments and through broadcasting. And we'll just say, like, from the both of us having that experience, it's not always clean. It's not always clean. Moving on to our second segment, MLS opening weekend. The home team, Inter Miami CF at Drive Pink Stadium, defeated CF Montreal 2-0 to pick up the first 3 points of the season. I'd say this like I told Jonka earlier. I'm not fully convinced yet. I'm not sold on the team yet. I'm not fully convinced. You had 2 goals from Christoph, who just came from Ukraine. Chandler Borgelin, South Florida native, and he's from Haiti as well. Those 2 guys are not going to be – it's great that they scored on their debut, but those guys are not going to be your usual goal scorers. The first goal from Christoph, Montreal's goalie missed the punch on a corner. It wasn't even kicked in. It hit off of Christoph's thigh and went into the goal. And then Borgelin shot the ball like 3 times before he finally was able to put it in the back of the net. There's still a lot of question marks for me. I think the biggest question mark for me, which one, Joseph Martinez is still not 100% healthy, still dealing with injury. I personally think his best days are behind him. Those days that we saw in Atlanta where they won and he picked up MVP, I think those days are behind him. Last year, he had a disastrous season with Atlanta. I'm not saying he can't do anything. I just think that his best days are behind him. Inter Miami always has, coming out of preseason and their 4 years of existence, they always have an injury problem. Leo Campana, who is supposed to be their guy, out injured. Robbie Robinson, that's another case where I think they should just get rid of him at this point because he's always injured. It's not a brand of soccer that is attractive to me. I watched Seattle last night demolish Colorado 4-0. I watched Philadelphia. I watched Nashville and New York City. And it's this game that's entertaining. They play a fast-paced, entertaining game. When you watch a Miami game, it's boring. You can take a nap. It is boring. It's not pretty. It's boring. And I think the biggest question mark is not the talent on the field, but how will Phil Neville manage this team? And I think a good test is going to be this upcoming Saturday against quite frankly, the favorite to win the Eastern Conference and win the MLS Cup this year in the Philadelphia Union, and they put 4 goals in their first game of the season. That'll be a real test for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, for Inter themselves, again, this is, first game of the year against a team like Montreal that obviously, I know we've been having our own injury issues, but Montreal looking horrible, absolutely horrible.
Before you continue, let me add, Brandon, Kai Kamara, who is their star player, dipped to the Chicago Fire a day before the season started. So that's another big problem. They're trying to figure out now life after their main goal scorer departures.
No, exactly. But I think my biggest takeaways from this game, because again, this is only the first match of the year.
Yeah,
but it's definitely like one where you have to think about, what does Inter Miami look like after, Higuain, right? Like the post-Higuain era. From what I've seen that a lot of our guys got a lot of opportunities, specifically our youth. I think when you mentioned with Borgling, I mean, the guy's 954 product, right? Broward County, 4 years in MLS academy. And, I mean, he shined out. He definitely shined out. He subbed out for Jose Martinez. And I mean, as you said, Daniel, it's not the best looking basketball. It's not like, Pizarro going for a hat trick, going back and forth like crazy.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, they got the result that they needed, a 2-0 victory. Even Harvey Neville came in the game, the coach's kid. But from what I see so far early in this year, and again, I know, as I mentioned before, the first match of the season, I mean, it's boring, but it works. I'm seeing more aggression out there. They're attacking it down the pitch every single time. Like that second half of the game, when I was able to watch more of it, it's like the forwards, they just are able to be on the defense like that, right? They're an offensive breed, and they're able to switch it like that. I think Phil Neville, I don't know exactly what is going on, but I think with Higuain now out of the roster, like we're going to see more, quick pace, better conditioned team. Of course, the injuries will always be a question. Robinson, I've been a huge supporter about him ever since, he got drafted at Clemson. But, I mean, obviously, the real question is, can he even get on grass, So, Campania, we still got to wait for. Robinson, hopefully he makes his way back. Calendar looks phenomenal again.
For me, man of the match. Man of the match.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean, the saves that he made, again, we talk about Montreal team, not on the, not on the best side of the spectrum of a playoff team like they were previously. But I mean, Calendar himself, and again, young franchise, but this is the best goaltender we've ever seen.
Yep.
In the Inter Miami jersey.
I agree. And listen, the sole reason why Inter Miami made the playoffs last year was because of one man and one man only. Yes, people are going to look at Gonzalo Higuain and the goals that he started scoring towards the end of the year, but why do you think he started scoring those goals? Because they brought in Alejandro Pozuelo, who knew how to work with Higuain and get him the ball. And for me, the biggest mistake, and they couldn't do anything about it. No one wanted Rodolfo Pizarro back. No one wanted him. No one wanted to buy him. So Miami stuck with him again, and they could not afford Pizarro's contract and Pozuelo's contract. And Pozuelo had to go, and I think that was the one that hurts the most for Miami.
I mean,
Janka?
Hey, you got something to say that Brandon there?
I was gonna say.
No, go for it.
I might be, because I love Pozuelo. I think that it was an incredible pickup that Inter Miami was even able to get on.
Yeah.
But I'm such a huge Pizarro fan, man. I'm sorry, man.
Oh my.
Like him and Chicharito, the fact that they're MLS legends and not international team stars, especially missing out the World Cup. Like, I love the fact Pizarro is actually still playing soccer, and I can watch it on TV. Unfortunately, for the first 2 games for free. But either way of that, it's a whole different discussion about Apple TV. But seeing Pizarro back, I still remember the day I watched him do that hat trick, do the little Joker smile.
Yeah.
I'm expecting that again and more this season. I'm liking the move from Inter Miami to bring him back. That's just me, though. I know, there's some things about him, but I like it.
Janka? Well, I didn't get to watch the match, but I did watch the highlights. And from what I saw a team compared to last year's that was taking more shots that they weren't. It's like last year they were just dull. Like they would just pass the ball, cross it, whatever, but they would never attack. They weren't attacking. So at some point it's like you have no goals, but like they didn't create chances. But from what I saw on the highlights, they were taking shots outside the box, inside the box, crossing, headers. They were trying to do as much as they can to score goals. I'm like, okay, I see a difference now. I see a team that wants to make a difference at this point. Now, with the goalie, you said that he's probably the best goalie we've had. I from what I saw, the saves that he had, they were pretty good. But he did have some moments where he gave up the ball and it could have cost the team bad.
Yeah.
He made terrible decisions. So he needs to fix that a couple times. He needs to fix that a lot, actually, because he cannot do that against Philadelphia Union for sure.
No, I guarantee.
And then the defending wasn't that bad. I think they need to improve on their interior defense inside the box because Montreal, even though they were out a couple of their star players, they were passing inside the box way too easily, and I think that's something they need to work on.
All I will say,
I'm overall impressed. If I have to, I'm gonna give them, even though they won, I'll give them a B. I'll give them a B.
Listen, I'll leave it at this. It's a good 0-1 to start the season, but we'll hit the fan this Saturday when they face the Philadelphia Union. I'll leave it at that. Moving on to our next segment. Finally, the 4-game losing streak has been snapped tonight. The Heat defeating the Philadelphia 76ers, but they did have a 4-game losing streak, which included a quote from Jimmy Butler saying he's tired of losing. Look, they had the acquisition of Cody Zeller and Kevin Love. But look, for me personally, my opinion, there's something wrong going on, and I think the ship has sailed. I think that this is edging close to a 1 round and out for the Miami Heat. Listen, in the offseason, there needs to be serious discussions of what's going to happen. Look, I'm sorry. I saw today that Udonis Haslem might want to come back for another year. Look, with all due respect, with all that he's done for Miami, he's got to go. Caleb Martin's got to go. Strus has got to go. I get the culture of trying to develop players. I really do appreciate that. But it's evident that this group can't get it done. I think the pieces that you need to keep is Jimmy, Bam, and Jimmy and Bam are the pieces you got to keep. Jimmy, Bam, and I will say Tyler Hero could be flexible for me, but obviously you keep Kevin Love depending on what he does this year. But it is a veteran that I think that you should keep depending on what you can get out there in the market. But the ship has sailed for me for the Heat this year. They're in some trouble. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Heat fans are very frustrated, and I, for me, can likely see this being a one and done in the playoffs with Miami.
I mean, for the Heat themselves, and again, this is a team that started off this second half of the year in a really bad situation. Going to start off against Milwaukee, then you got to go yourself. You play against Denver at home, I think, and then the 4-game road trip. And this was a huge win. Yeah. Again, Philadelphia, number 3 in the Eastern Conference. James Harden, Joel Embiid on an MVP type of season right now. I think right now he's averaging, 28 points a game, close to that number. Either way, the Miami Heat themselves have not been getting a good start, especially integrating their new roster rules, of course, with Kevin Love. When I saw Kevin Love play just that first game against Milwaukee, and again, really weird, playing against Miles Leonard. But either way, guard up against Leonard, guard up against Portis, guard against anyone, he just looked a little gassed out. And I know that it's going to take some time to get used to kind of the way that the fast tempo of Miami runs with. But, it only going to take time. It's only going to take time. Yep. Unfortunately, right now, the Miami Heat, they don't have time right now. New York, currently right now, they're beating Boston actually by double digits. And funny enough, that would actually put the Celtics, I believe, now in second in the East, if that stands. But besides that, the Knicks would potentially be winning 6 in a row. Atlanta Hawks getting Quinn Snyder just today. And Snyder is no joke as a coach. I'll let you know that right now. So one of the things I had thought about the Miami Heat in a situation where they'll still get top 6 if they're not able to beat out the Knicks for it is the fact that the Brooklyn Nets, without KD and Kyrie, they're going to plummet. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind they're going to finish at least 7 through 8. At least 7 through 8 because it's still got a roster. But they're not going to be able to have enough chemistry to get a win streak going on throughout the year. So when you look at the Miami Heat right now, currently, and again, the Knicks game has not ended yet. However, Knicks up ahead 2 whole games over the Miami Heat. Whenever they play later on this season, and then, of course, whenever the Knicks struggle, you've got to watch Miami on the edge right there. They're a play-in team. They're definitely not a contending team.
Yep. Jakob?
If you guys didn't see the plug of the week, I said the Heat, they played today. They won by 2, 101-99. They were up by 10 points majority of the game, and then Philly was able to come back and make it a close one. But is that I don't know what to expect from this team. Like today, they beat Philly, but then I think it was a game ago they lose to the Hornets, and so I just don't know what. I just know they're always flip flopping. There's this and then there's that. There's a problem. One, this guy's injured. Oh, this guy's coming in today. There's no consistency. Like I feel like the team. I feel like I don't know. Maybe there's like a chemistry problem on the team that everybody's just like, I don't know. You know what? We don't really care anymore. We know we're not gonna win anything. We're just gonna have a facade that we think we can do it, just to sell tickets. But as of right now, the Heat are in 7th. They're 11.5 games out. They're 2.5 ahead of Atlanta. 3.5, no 3 ahead of Toronto, and 4.5 or 4 ahead of Washington. But Chicago and Indiana are right there. They're close. The thing is, Miami cannot go on a losing streak again, bro. I can't preface this enough. They cannot. They play. I'll tell you right now who it is. They play the Sixers again on Wednesday. The Knicks, back-to-back at home against the Hawks. Then back-to-back at home against the Cavaliers.
Yep.
Then the Magic at Orlando, which the Magic you can't sleep on them. They're a young team and they're you can't count them out. The Jazz, well coached with a bunch of new players. The Grizzlies at home, bro. This is the Bulls that want to make the playoffs with Patrick Beverly, and they're hungry for it. And then the Pistons, that's a joke. But then the Knicks, Nets, Raptors, and Knicks again. All those teams waiting to fight for a spot.
It's gonna be tough.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
It's gonna be tough.
I think one thing for the Miami Heat themselves, because whenever I watch a Miami Heat game, I'm expecting Erik Spoelstra to write something up. He's not cooking. He's not making anything on that playbook. When I look at the Heat right now statistically, 23rd in total assists as a team. This is a Miami Heat team that used to see a lot of backwards pass with D-Wade to LeBron, Mario Chalmers moving around with Shane Battier. And not even that. Even seeing it recently, Justice Winslow going around with the Rock with Jay Richardson, this Heat team has lost ball movement. I mean, let alone, that's also put down for them, 108 points per game. That's 30th in the NBA. Despite having one of the most better defensive teams out there in the league, this Miami Heat team needs to fix something. I mean, if you go back, I haven't seen the full stats. I bet you right now, probably Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, and honestly, probably even Gabe Vincent, another role player random, is probably the leading scorers because it's always 2 bench players and then Jimmy Butler and Bam leading the way. They got to move something. You can't just have an offense where you just have stagnant players just staying stationary. You got to move around. And again, I mean, John, as you said before, they can't get on a losing streak. The teams you mentioned,
they're tough.
New York, Atlanta, those are teams that are fighting for that 6th seed to take away from the Knicks. This is going to be, in this month of March, Heat fans, if you're listening right now, this will be a month that will determine the season. And again, I'm not expecting to be out of the play-in. I doubt it, especially with Toronto looking the way they're looking like. But besides that, this is going to be the most frustrating month of Heat basketball. Either for the better or worse, it's going to be frustrating to watch.
And yeah, I agree. This is going to be, I think, what makes or breaks them this upcoming month. But switching gears, big news this past week, Russell Wilson. It was reported that Russell Wilson wanted Pete Carroll fired. And when he did not get fired, obviously I chose Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson ended up in Denver. And for me, ended up working in the Seahawks' favor because I think they have a much better season than Denver. Russell Wilson had the chance to be a franchise quarterback, like an Aaron Rodgers with Green Bay, something like that. riding off to the sunset with one team, even though Aaron Rodgers we think might be Green Bay, but he could have had a career like that in Seattle. And, he's doing this to a coach who put trust in Russell Wilson. And through all of that, the thick and thin, he decides that I want him fired. I mean, for me, a little low, especially what both of them have gone through. I'm sure the city of Seattle will always appreciate Russell Wilson for all he's done for the Seahawks organization. But I think this one's bad on Russell Wilson's part, and he made a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, because, again, these are two guys who have won Super Bowl together, right? So they're both future Hall of Famers. You don't really want to see a relationship tarnished like that, especially in a city like Seattle where you don't really have football history besides those few years that Russell was there. I mean, of course, they had phenomenal wide receivers and phenomenal talent going through Seattle, but, I mean, this is the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. Definitely Russell did not get the season that he wanted in Denver. I think probably expectations were probably the huge part about that. Pete Carroll himself, with Geno Smith, he made it work. A South Florida kid, he made it work. But yeah, I mean, from these reports, it's just sad for me. It really is sad for me. You hate to see guys like this who are just first ballot Hall of Famers when they really make it out and retire, to see them kind of tarnish a relationship, which of course will be enshrined forever as a Super Bowl winning relationship on and off the field. So I just find it really sad.
Janka, your comments?
I was actually I didn't know about this until Daniel told me, and then I had to look into it a little bit. But I was actually shocked. I didn't expect for Russell Wilson to say this, or to even ask for him to be fired. But as I continue to think about it, I don't think he deserved to be fired, but maybe deserved to be put on a hot seat. Because ever since that terrible call not to run the ball, and my Patriots end up winning that Super Bowl, but after that, the Seahawks they weren't the same after that. And so they ended up getting Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, the Legion of Boom dissipated. They weren't the same. In the city of Seattle, they were looked at as I don't know what team is relatable now, but maybe what the Buccaneers were 2 years ago. They had an elite defense, and then they were just one and done.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's since all these years passed, and Pete Carroll had dissipated the Legion of Boom, and Marshawn Lynch left, and they couldn't get back up to the Super Bowl. They couldn't at least get close. They were getting first round exits. I think Russell Wilson was getting frustrated, and that Pete Carroll wasn't really getting creative with the draft picks, and what he didn't. Well, I guess wasn't getting the protection he needed. So I guess he wanted I want a new coach. I can't deal with this anymore. And also Russell Wilson being a running quarterback, he needs the protection.
Yeah.
So I guess he's like, hey, either get rid of this guy or I'm leaving. He ended up going to Denver. The season didn't go as he wanted, but Denver does have a really good defense. And now with this new offensive coordinator that they're getting, apparently, hopefully that they can fix it. But Pete Carroll proved himself right, because Geno, they did pretty good this year.
Yeah, let's just see this upcoming year. Let's see who has a better year. Will Russell Wilson bounce back with Denver, or will Seattle have a better year than Denver once again? But final segment of the night: Manny Machado, 11 years, $350 million with the San Diego Padres. Again, I expressed my comments to Janka before. Look, I think what happens here, and I think this goes for any sport, is when a player gets that type of money, what usually happens is they stop trying. It happened to Hanley Ramirez with the Marlins. It's happened, for football example, when OBJ got an extension with the Giants and he got his money. He wasn't the same OBJ.
Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, it's for me, it gives them a level of comfort that they're getting guaranteed money and they don't need to prove themselves anymore and they're not on the hot seat. Manny Machado is a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a great player. Especially when he was on my Dodgers, he was playing pretty well for that 1 year that we had him. But is Manny really worth that much money? And for 11 years, you really think he's worth that money? And do you think that deal will work out?
It's on the Padres, correct?
Yep.
Maybe it'll work out because the Padres are building a pretty decent team over there. They got some good hitters and good players. Maybe as a team it'll work out. But that's the thing that gets me. 11 years, though. To dedicate yourself to a team for 11 years.
Look, I would have given that type of contract to Fernando Tatis Jr. instead of Manny Machado.
I agree. Yeah. But for Manny Machado, man, I would have loved to see that. This is where I get red. This is where we like to soccer game. It's like, yo, Marlins, where are you, bro? This is the Hialeah kid. This is the Hialeah kid, bro. He's from the trenches. Bro, where are you at, bro?
You good and hell well know the Marlins are not going to give him that type of money.
I mean, but they were ready to give Giancarlo Stanton 300 over, probably more than that.
Exactly.
Bro, it's like, bro, do it, man. You need people in the seats. You need hitting. That's what they need. They need somebody. We'll spend the money. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But spend the goddamn money you have, bro. My God, if you're not going to try, at least try swinging, bro. Swear to God. It's a baseball game. 3 strikes, bro. 3 runs, you're out. But that means you have 3 tries. And you come again. Round and round, bro. My God, this team is so... Oh, my God, bro. It's pissing me off. At least a year, bro. 1 year, 2 year contract. We'll give you $50 million, $25 a year. Okay. If it doesn't work out, okay, good for you. Bye-bye. We don't need you anymore. Bro, but at least offer this guy some money, bro. At least try to be in the conversation for Manny Machado, bro. It's like they don't try anymore. My God.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that, like, this was more or less of a Padre thing. Now we're talking Marlins. I love this because they really, I mean, honestly, for Miami themselves, you know what I think is going to happen, guys? I think World Baseball Classic, right? They're going to come here. The Dominican Republic's going to be here. Puerto Rico's going to be here, right?
Cuba's going to be here.
Yep, that too. We're going to get all the talent. They're going to be like, wow, this is a nice stadium, Lone Depot Park, no problem. And then they're going to come to Miami next season. That's what's probably going to happen. But sticking to Machado, baseball's not my biggest suit. However, a name like Manny Machado, that's a name that you don't forget. That's a franchise-worth thing. This guy, personally, I do believe that he's worth the money. But the years itself, and this is more of a baseball thing, let's say an NBA or NFL thing, the years of 11 years, that's short of a year of a decade. Like, for San Diego, that means that he's going to be there for the long run. He's going to be there for, hopefully, for them at least, a World Series chance, for potentially a World Series run, and also, of course, trying to protect that. Or he's going to be there for the slugging years of great talent not getting there on top of the hill, slugging years of, dealing with the front office because you got a contract that's huge, dealing with, the list goes on and on. A deal like this, that means you're really committed to Machado. I think is a great player. But when you look at the roster and what potentially they could bring over there to San Diego, this kind of weakens a little bit of their ability, I think. So I think great move. You got a franchise player right there locked in for just about a decade, but you do limit yourself for potentially adding on. So,
well, let's just see what Machado will do with the Padres if he is that piece that will lead them to a World Series title. But for us tonight, guys, that is all. That is episode 83 from myself, Danny Torres, Brandon, and Janka. Thank you guys for tuning in every single week. We appreciate it. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your week and be back next week for episode 84.
With the troops.